And you rejoin us here at the NEC in time for the anthems. What an atmosphere, and Pat Cowdell looking so relaxed. Your big fight commentary team, Jim Watt and Reg Guttridge, and you'll hear them straight after the ring announcement from Mike Shinfield.
Gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Frank Warren, in association with Don King, presents a featherweight contest of 12 3-minute rounds at 9 stones for the WBC Featherweight Championship of the world. Introducing in this corner, ladies and gentlemen, from Whalley, the challenger, Pat Cowdell. And introducing, ladies and gentlemen, from Ghana, the WBC Featherweight Champion of the world, Azumah Nelson. At the weigh-in today, Cowdell scaled 8 stones, 13 pounds, Nelson 8 stones, 13 3/4 pounds. The officials for this contest, ladies and gentlemen, the referee from Mexico, Octavia Miran, the judges from Ghana, Roy Ankra, from America, Harold Buck, and from England, Harry Gibbs. The World Boxing Council representative, Mr. L. Keegan, and the timekeeper, Mr. Ken Davison.
There, really excitement there as they came in. It was almost like a carnival when Nelson came down there. The bongo drums were going like good uns, and they were waving flags, and the whole thing really, well, it was a bit ridiculous because boxers don't really need that on the way to the ring. And great concentration by the old general of the ring, 32 now, Pat Cowdell. The first Midlander to challenge then for the World Championship on his home territory. Big underdog, but you know, bookmakers do that. They always rule from the head and not from the heart. But there are a few supporters around here that will be rooting for him. So there's the champion then. 8-13 3/4, made at 9 stone, the WBC Featherweight Championship, which is 3/4 of a pound heavier than Cowdell, who holds the European Super Featherweight, that's 9-4. Scheduled for 12 rounds, the World Boxing Council. Now, it's a question now of whether Pat Cowdell's guile there can outwit this man. He's always taken a good punch back. He hasn't been stopped, in fact, properly for 15 years, back in his amateur days. He got stopped with a cut eye early on in his career, but that was all. But he's one of the most ferocious little champions around today now, Nelson, in the lower weight divisions. It's really been an honest pre-fight talk from Pat Cowdell, especially when he was saying, well, I doubt if I can knock him out, but it's possible that he could knock me out. That's so typical of Pat. But it won't be through lack of effort, I promise you, with Cowdell. He's got a good chin and a big heart. That counts for a bit in the game. If he can get a bit of a punch to go with that, we're all right. So, minute gone then in the opening round. And Nelson was telling us really backstage, well, I expect him to be very slippery for a few rounds. I may have to throw 4 punches and only catch him with 1, but that'll do if I do. Well, we'll soon find out. Beautifully built for a featherweight, isn't he, Nelson, Jim?
Yeah, already I'm impressed by him. He's got a good defence himself. I've always been bragging about Pat's defence, but you can see how tight his defence is too. He's just moving into position all the time. He's going to keep Pat under pressure all the way through this tonight, I think. And even already he's getting to Pat with some body shots. He's going to just be on top of Pat all night, I think.
There's a little bit of a row in the dressing room about hand bandaging. That's par for the course a bit, but Nelson's people were very upset about it because they were using more than the apparent regulation length. But that didn't bother you, Jim, did it?
No, I don't see the problem. I mean, putting extra bandage on doesn't make your punch any harder. He's a real pressure fighter, Nelson. I can see already what he has in his mind. Oh!
Well, it's 15 years since Pat Cowdell was hit on the chin and stopped. And in the opening round, he's being counted out by the Mexican referee. What a puncher, this fellow Nelson. I don't have to emphasize that. That's a sight that you have never seen Pat Cowdell before in his long career. I make that about 2 minutes, 23 seconds. And what a final punch that was.
It was a cracker. I think the punch actually landed higher. I'm looking forward to seeing it again. We're really looking forward to it. But the punch seemed to catch Pat high in the head, I thought. And I don't like the look of this at all. Pat's badly hurt. It looked like a high punch on the head.
You'd think they'd quieten the celebrations down at least until the opponent is off the floor. The Board of Control doctor there is in there, the Midland Area Chief, Dr. David Target, and Dr. Michael Abdu from Solihull. They're officially the Board of Control men. They'll leave him in the ring and leave him on the floor for a while.
24 seconds of round 1, ladies and gentlemen. A winner on a count-out and still featherweight champion of the world, Azumah Nelson.
Well, nobody could have expected in the first round, Jim, really.
No, I was amazed the way Nelson was getting to Cowdell as early in the first round. I couldn't believe it. He just stayed right on top of Pat. His punches were landing right from the off. See, he's never given Pat...
Here's the replay of it, Jim, yeah. So he's trying to loosen himself up there, Cowdell. Be a bit wary, but as you say, this fellow, and I've said all along, of course, that Nelson's had such good firepower. There it is. It was almost like a left-hand uppercut. No way you can stop that one, Jim.
It was a tremendous punch it was, and Pat's still lying there. Obviously, we hope there's no serious damage taking place here. It's not too often we see Pat taking punches like that, but that was a horrible punch.
Well, it looks as though he's coming round now, which is good news, because they don't use smelling salts or anything like that, you know, and it's not allowed. That lowers the blood pressure. There's manager Pat Lynch whispering in his ear saying, it's okay, son, don't bother to get up until you're ready. And the doctors will insist he stays there until he's talking properly again, and they're satisfied that he can get up, and he is. But if ever you've seen the perfect KO, that was one, and I have to say, I just wish it hadn't happened to a good old workman and a good guy like Pat Cowdell. But we have seen a great little champion in there. Remember, he knocked out Wilfredo Gomez, who has won 3 championships at different weights, and Nelson knocked him out. It looks as though he's understandably breaking down there. It's a nice scene, isn't it? Pat Lynch doesn't really manage this fellow for money. In fact, it cost him money to run his stable in Birmingham. It's almost a hobby with him, and that's the last thing he would have expected to have to do. They're bringing a stool around, in fact, a comfortable chair just to lift Cowdell up. There's as much embarrassment as pain now, Jim, isn't there?
Yeah, I think he's heartbroken. Obviously, he's treated this as the biggest night of his life. He's got himself into tremendous shape, and he hasn't even had a chance to show us what he hoped to do and what he can do. Just didn't get a chance, but what a tremendous punch.